So today I am recording my presentation on my screen director Martin Scorsese, and this is my final project presentation. So a little bit about Martin Scorsese. He is the winner of multiple awards both nationally and internationally. Over the course of his prolific career, with 9 nominations for the Academy Award for Best Director, he is tied with Steven Spielberg as the most nominated living director of all time, which I think is really good for his greatness and his legacy, because that means he's been doing this for a while and he's implemented himself in the filming business and made a name for himself. Secondly, only to William Wyler's 12 nominations overall. He won the award of the film The Departed. Scorsese directed 9 films that went on to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture, which would be Taxi Driver in 1976, Raging Bull in 1980, Goodfellas in 1990, Gangs of New York in 2002, The Evader in 2004, The Departed in 2006, Hugo in 2011, The Wolf of Wall Street in 2013, and The Irishman in 2019. So we can tell Scorsese's longevity. He has been doing this for a while, and it's actually pretty cool to get a director that's been doing this for a while and has that many nominees and Academy Awards for Best Picture, which isn't easy to do. So that's pretty impressive. Other awards Scorsese has also won. He has earned top awards in Film Academy Award, Music, Grammy Award, and Television Primetime Emmy Award. He has also won the Palme d'Or for Taxi Driver and a Best Director Award for After Hours at the Cannes Film Festival. He received the Silver Lion Award for the film Goodfellas at the Venice Film Festival. Goodfellas is a really good movie with a lot of good film, screenplay, and the way he directed that. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that has definitely been one of my favorite films to watch from him. So, speaking about Goodfellas, everything about this movie was pretty good. I loved watching it, and I loved how Scorsese, with all his movies, he kind of gives the thug that was not really in the lifestyle, and then he turns out to be in the mafia or turns out to be a really bad guy and then ends up regretting it once he sees what comes with the territory. And then usually out of all his movies, the character has to make a decision of if they want to live that lifestyle or if they want to change it and do something different. So here's what I said about Goodfellas. Everything in Goodfellas is fast and frantic, so it makes sense for the dialogue to be this way. Some of it was even improvised, which adds to the authenticity of the dialogue, and the film also notably has many memorable quotes, also helping the dialogue stand out. The fairly extreme use of profanity is fair enough because few people who can swear as well as Joe Pesci swears. So who can blame Martin Scorsese for making the most of him? Most viewers may overlook the editing on the first viewing because they're so wrapped up in the story, but it's easier to appreciate on rewatches. It's fast and frantic, but never to the point where things become confusing. Some of my favorite things in Goodfellas also is when they came to the end of the movie and they were talking about how he would have to be in witness protections, one of the main young gangsters that was in the group, and he didn't want to be a snitch, but he had to end up ratting his boys out because they were getting too big and they were starting to kill some of their own members for not abiding by rules. So then he had to make a decision on his own if he really wanted to be in that lifestyle or not. And in the end, it ended up not being for him, and to this day, which he passed away, he was still under witness protection after that movie. Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day was a different approach by Scorsese. That was one of my favorites from watching from a comical standpoint. And so about Groundhog Day, some of my favorite moments was when the guy kept having the deja vu, and he came out of his little apartment, I guess you could say, and he saw the guy that kept saying he was from high school and they went to school together. The first couple of times he brushed him off, and then once he realized he was having deja vu, he punched him in the face the second time when he saw him. That to me was pretty funny. That was one of my favorite moments from that movie. I just thought it was funny how he kept just terrorizing that man every time he seen him. But that movie's overall message is to do what is right and do not feed into selfish needs first. And a reason I say that's the message is because, as you can tell at the end of the movie, it took him, he kept having deja vu about his whole entire day, and he kept doing whatever he wanted to. Like when he dated the report woman, he was just doing anything that he wanted with her, and he kept forcing her to do stuff, and then she realized that that wasn't for her, and she ended up leaving him. And then he started sleeping with a bunch of different women and just taking from people, and he just kept going through the same day, until he realized that when he helped the old man, and the old man died, and he actually cared about someone other than himself, the next day the deja vu ended. So I feel like it's just one of those quotes to be where you can help somebody else and to not fill in your selfish needs, because if you don't, then you'll just be the same person every single day. And also, I always watching thinking, when is the next day going to end? That's basically the whole theme of this movie. He keeps waking up, and it's the same day, same day, same day. And for the viewers, you're wondering when the movie's going to end, but it really does give you a good life quote of what you need to do in life to be a good person. Training Day. Training Day is an excellent film that is sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. In my opinion, the acting was amazing, the direction superior, the costumes were perfectly designed, and the cast was perfectly chosen. Also, the soundtrack is good too. Training Day serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of corruption and abuse of power. Jake's strong beliefs and moral values ended up saving his life. It shows how corrupt some businesses and cops are, and not every mentor is good, and you shouldn't do everything they say if it's not right. With Training Day, I had already seen that movie, so I already previously knew what that movie was about, but I think Training Day was a good example of why you shouldn't really trust some people and what they tell you. And it also shows that not everything they do you should do, because they try, since he was new, they tried to make him do things that he knew he wasn't going to do, that was going to go against his job. And, you see that sometimes in real life, just like with the cop situation. When they were robbing the dude, he told him that it was just a little situation and don't tell anybody. But we may have that in real life when sometimes cops do something that they weren't supposed to do, but they make it seem like it didn't happen just to frame that other person. Fight Club. The entire movie has an overarching message of letting go, reminding viewers that the idea of the control of capitalistic elements in their lives is simply an illusion. The sooner they can let go of the narrator, the sooner they can build a more authentic life. Famous quote: "The things you end up owning end up owning you. It's only after we lost everything that we're free to do anything. You're not your job." And reject the basic assumptions of civilization, especially the importance of material possessions. I really love that quote. That quote actually stuck with me a lot because I'm a big believer in the things you own, you end up owning you. So a lot of times people like materialistic objects like cars, purses, any type of stuff like that, and they get too much into it, and then those stuff end up owning them, and they kind of lose the sense of themselves, and they start wanting more things, and if it's not those things, they just reject it. And the reason I put these two, Fight Club and Training Day, is the same is because in Fight Club, the guy was battling his own mental, and he couldn't get out of his mental state, and he ended up having to shoot himself to get out of that state of that he doesn't need to follow the rules that his inner consciousness was telling him. And just like with Training Day with Denzel Washington, he was telling his rookie everything to do, but his rookie knew that that wasn't the right thing to do, and he ended up having to kill him because in order to get their own lifestyle and their own independent thinking, that's what it had to come to. But in conclusion, I loved watching all these films. Martin Scorsese is a very, very good director, and I would love to watch more of his films in the future.